Iran intends to attack Israel. That being said, there are signs today that Iran may be backing down from originally doing so. Here's what happened. This is Joe Biden making everything worse again. So Israel struck Iran's embassy in Damascus, killing people associated with Hamas and with Iran. Iran says it's going to respond and that if the United States gets involved, it will also attack the United States. Joe Biden is telling Iran, don't attack Israel, but if you do attack Israel, we had nothing to do with this. Don't attack us, which is just absurd. Joe Biden essentially signaling that, well, if you attack Israel, we're not going to do anything. The Americans under Joe Biden are just engaging in incrementalism. I got to read you actually a text message. A longtime friend of mine wrote me this morning. Let me just read you this because I thought this is spot on. Every leader of the Democratic Party who's become president since Harry Truman has believed and believes in minimal escalation of military conflict. When invited to a knife fight, they willingly leave their guns behind. Listen to the Michael Beschloss, Lyndon B. Johnson audio series. McNamara and Johnson were terrified of China, all the while fighting China. This strategy costs us more deaths and a lot more casualties and destruction. Imagine if rather than worrying what Putin thought over a year ago, we promised every item to Ukraine that we're given them thus far. How is it we're only willing to send a memo? HIMARS, tanks, anti-tank missiles, Patriot batteries, 155 howitzers, now F-16s. They were all unthinkable and escalate the war. It can be argued may have prevented the war and almost certainly would have shortened it, saving lives and infrastructure. They keep doing this incrementally, drip, drip, drip. It's so true. And this is Joe Biden, been in Washington for 50 years, been part of that Democratic thinking, and it's a drip, drip, drip. Incremental escalation as opposed to going all in. When you're dealing with a bully, is it better to go tit for tat? Or is it better to just beat the hell out of the bully? What do you think is going to make the bully stop? Incremental, tit for tat, or just beat the snot out of him then and there? This friend of mine, who will go nameless because of the second text, actually makes a great point. The question for the President of the United States these days should be, if you had to do it over again, would you have dropped the second bomb on Japan? Your answer should be yes. Now, these days, because of revisionist historians and progressives who are appalled at American power and anti-colonialism and all that sort of stuff, the answer is no, and the appalled, and Harry Truman should have never dropped the bomb, and there was no reason to drop a second bomb. There absolutely was a reason to drop a second bomb, and it had nothing to do with Japan and everything to do with everyone else. You dropped the second bomb not to induce a more rapid surrender from Japan. You dropped a second bomb to make sure Russia didn't take over and keep fighting us and turn on us. You used the second bomb example in Japan to make sure the whole world knew this was not an anomaly. We know how to build these things and advance these things. And yes, it absolutely did induce Japan to rapidly wind up the war and surrender far quicker than they would have. So you're killing multiple birds with a second stone. But Democrats these days abhor the idea of Harry Truman even dropping the first bomb. They revise World War II history to suggest it was unnecessary. They were going to surrender anyway. How many Americans would have died with a land invasion of Japan? Dropping both of those bombs stopped that possibility from happening and probably saved vastly more lives. But the Democrats don't get it anymore. Most of them never have. Joe Biden is certainly from that camp of the Democratic Party that has misread and gotten wrong foreign policy for 50 years. Joe Biden has been on the wrong side of every foreign policy issue in the United States. He's been on the wrong side of all of them. He's claimed somehow that he had unique experience in leadership, but, Barack Obama said, Never underestimate Joe's ability to F things up. Bob Gates, Barack Obama's Secretary of Defense, said Joe Biden's been on the wrong side of every issue. Remember, it was Joe Biden who did not want Barack Obama to go get Osama bin Laden. It was Joe Biden who opposed the effort to take out Osama bin Laden. And now this incrementalism in the Middle East is probably going to get a whole lot more people killed as a result. Probably going to get a lot of people killed. Iran is going to attack Israel. It may not as aggressively attack as originally thought. Most people thought the attack was pretty imminent. Not only did people think the attack was pretty imminent, they actually have been bracing in Israel for an attack over the next 48 to 72 hours. Probably not on Friday because that is the Sabbath for Muslim countries, but on Saturday it would make a lot of sense because Muslims would not be celebrating the Sabbath, but Israel would, so it was the perfect day to attack. Maybe they won't now. Maybe they'll do it through some surreptitious means. But the situation is destabilized in the Middle East, and in large part, the situation is destabilized not because of what Israel has done, and not even because of what Iran has done, but because of what Joe Biden has done, sending a series of mixed signals, and now appearing to fold on support of Israel in favor of supporting Hamas, a terrorist organization, because Joe Biden needs the votes of Democratic anti-Semites in November to beat Donald Trump. It is really remarkable the President of the United States is actively courting anti-Semites to win an election in November. Things are going badly for Joe Biden across the board. It's like, honestly, the reason he went on Univision. He went on Univision and announced he's probably going to unilaterally crack down on illegal immigration. You know why he went on Univision? Because he's losing Hispanic voters, and he's losing Hispanic voters because of the issue of illegal immigration. Hispanic voters don't like it. Now there's a story in the Wall Street Journal today, headline, Biden loses support among black men. President Biden faces a dual-natured challenge to shore up his support with black Americans, one of the Democratic Party's most loyal constituencies. Perhaps the most urgent, more black men said they plan to back Donald Trump this fall, according to a recent Wall Street Journal poll of 7 swing states. While most black men said they intend to support Biden, some 30% of them in the poll said they were either definitely or probably going to vote for the former Republican president. There isn't comparable Wall Street Journal swing state polling from 2020, but Trump received votes from 12% of black men nationwide that year, according to AP Votecast, a large poll of the electorate. In the Wall Street Journal poll, 11% of black women said they would either definitely or probably go to vote for Trump in 2020. Only 6% of black women nationwide backed Trump. Did y'all see the video in Atlanta yesterday? Trump goes into a Chick-fil-A. The black women there love Donald Trump. They were shouting at him, "Don't believe the media. We love you." This is why Joe Biden stopped the menthol cigarette ban. Because black Americans are more likely to smoke menthol cigarettes. They were going to ban menthol cigarettes. The FDA announced it in 2022. It's come to fruition. The regulations were out. And Joe Biden's White House said, whoa, guys, we can't do this. Wait until the election's over. Black voters who use menthol cigarettes, you need to understand, the moment Joe Biden wins re-election, your menthol cigarettes are getting banned. He doesn't actually care about you. He just needs your vote. He's going to lie to you right now. That's what he does. We have a situation in the Middle East. So it's been a slow news week, I got to admit. So one of the things I actually want to do tomorrow, since I was gone all last week, I actually want to kind of review all of these different things and talk about all the problems that are going on in the world right now, in large part because of Joe Biden and the domestic policy issues as well. And I want to spend some time with you, assuming there's no big breaking news tomorrow. Like we got thrown off out of the gate today with OJ dying as breaking news out of the gate. But assuming there's nothing big that happens, I actually want to spend time with you guys tomorrow and kind of go for a walk through the historic landscape right now of stuff that's going on, all because of Joe Biden's failures to act decisively and Joe Biden's needs to be led by polling to cobble together a coalition. Because domestically and internationally, things are going south on us, all because Joe Biden is desperate to get ahead in the polls. Instead of leading instead of leading and using the bully pulpit to articulate to Americans. I mean, Joe Biden, forget his stuttering. He's at war with the English language and truth the whole time anyway. And he can't lead and he can't articulate a vision for the country, not because he stutters, but because he's got dementia. He's led around by progressives who have a vision that is actually America last, not America first. And it's spilling out all over the place, and it's affecting every constituency of the Democratic Party. The only people who want to vote for Joe Biden at this point are rich white people with advanced degrees. Everybody else has common sense, and they're moving away from him.